Welcome to episode 14, the final installment of Northwest Favorites, the heart of Portland wrestling. I'm your host, Frank Culbertson, and over the past several weeks, we've explored the wrestlers who weren't always the megastars, but who defined the emotion, identity, and legacy of Portland wrestling. The guys who carried the cards, held the territory together, and kept fans filling the sports arena week after week. Today, in our last chapter, we close with three names who each represent a different era of greatness: Mark Lewin, Don Leo Jonathan, and Moondog Ed Moretti. And at the end, I'll introduce you to our next podcast series, the Mid-Card Chronicle, featuring the dependable talents who made every card complete. It's a look at the wrestlers who lived right in the middle of the card, but were absolutely essential to the show. But first, let's finish this story the right way, with three unforgettable Northwest talents. Mark Lewin's Portland chapter comes late in a career that stretched nearly 30 years, beginning in 1957 and spanning continents, territories, and countless titles. Lewin entered Portland during the sports arena era after a dominant run in Vancouver, where he held the Pacific Coast title twice and the Canadian tag titles with Stephen Littlebear. His first Portland appearance came on December 20th, 1969, splitting a battle royal with Dean Higuchi before the two teamed against the Von Steiger brothers. In early 1970, Lewin made four more Portland stops, teaming with Jerry London, Johnny Costas, and facing names like Beauregard and Bulldog Brown. Lewin's Portland run was brief, but his career was anything but. He wrestled in every major territory, won dozens of championships, and remains one of the longest-tenured wrestlers of this era. Today, Mark Lewin lives in Washington State and is 86 years old, a living piece of wrestling history. Few names loom as large, literally and figuratively, as Don Leo Jonathan. A giant with uncommon agility and genuine drawing power, Don Leo is easily in the top 5 wrestlers in Northwest history. He lived in Vancouver, but Portland was a regular stop, especially in 1968, when he prepared for 2 NWA title matches against Big Gene Kiniski. The first took place in the Memorial Coliseum and ended in a draw. The second was also in the Coliseum, where Don Leo became tangled in the ropes and was counted out. The Oregonian even reported how dangerously he became trapped. Between 1969 and 70, Don Leo wrestled several Portland matches, including a win alongside Stan Stasiak and a draw with Dutch Savage. His later appearances came as special attractions, often in Seattle due to proximity to home. One standout moment occurred in March 1980 when he wrestled Andre the Giant in Salem, a match that left Don Leo injured after lifting Andre overhead and being caught in a dangerous shift of weight. In his interviews, Don Leo reflected not on championships or fame, but on travel, culture, and the people he met around the world. His words showed a deeply thoughtful man, grateful for the richness of his life beyond the ring. Don Leo Jonathan passed away in 2018, leaving behind a legacy of power, grace, intelligence, and quiet greatness. Finally, one of the most beloved and charismatic personalities to call the Northwest home, Moondog Ed Moretti. Ed's story is more than results. It's personal, it's communal, and for many fans, it's emotional. Mike Rogers first met Ed in 1987 at Clackamas Town Center. He greeted him like an old friend, and that chance meeting led to years of road trips, stories, laughter, and wrestling conversations that lasted 5 hours in each direction to Vancouver. They'd place Luthez in ridiculous, hypothetical situations just to crack each other up. Moondog Moretti began wrestling in the Bay Area before Red Bastien helped him get booked in Vancouver. His very first match there? Against Gene Kiniski. He first showed up in Portland in 1979, working with stars like Stan Stasiak, Buddy Rose, and Matt Bourne. He made scattered appearances in '84, but his longest Portland run began in 1985 when he homesteaded in Oregon. For several years, he became one of the territory's consistent, charismatic presences, capturing the Northwest tag titles with Mean Mike Miller. He also wrestled Road Warrior Hawk in Hawk's first ever pro match in Vancouver, a remarkable piece of trivia. Ed Moretti had style, humor, and a storyteller's heart. He later served on the Oregon Boxing and Wrestling Commission, trying to bridge the gap between the commission and the wrestling community, sometimes to his own detriment, and always standing on principle. Moondog Moretti wasn't just a wrestler. He was a friend, a mentor, and one of the true souls of Northwest wrestling. With that, we close the book on Northwest Favorites, the heart of Portland wrestling. 14 episodes, dozens of wrestlers, and the stories of the fan favorites and fierce rivals who defined an era. From the explosive excitement of the early sports arena days, to the grit of the 70s, to the character-driven action of the 80s and early 90s. These wrestlers weren't always the main event megastars. They were the heartbeat, the faces fans cheered for, the heels they loved to hate, the names that made Portland wrestling one of the most beloved territories in wrestling history. This series has been based on the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by historian Mike Rogers, and it's available now on Amazon. But the journey doesn't end there. Next week, we launch a brand new series, the Mid-Card Chronicle, featuring the dependable talents who made every card complete. These were the wrestlers who lived in that middle zone, not prelims, not main events, but absolutely essential, the glue of every good wrestling show. I'm your host, Frank Culbertson. Thank you for listening, thank you for supporting this series, and thank you for helping keep the legacy of Portland wrestling alive. Be sure to follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I'll see you next Friday for the debut of the Mid-Card Chronicle.